Welcome in beautiful Antwerp and welcome at BC TechDays. This year it's the first time we organize this event in the summer. The past 10 editions were always organized in September and November. And at the last edition, last year in September, Microsoft approached me by means of Vincent and Mike Morton. A few hours before the closing, we was about to announce the next date. And they asked if I would consider moving the event to another city. So okay, we considered it, we checked with the hotel, we checked with the venue, and here we are, the first summer edition of BC TechDays. We have some percentages for you to make it more easier to pick one. If we have more beers next year, I think we need a bigger screen, which might be a record of countries. And you see, I think it's also the first time we beat the Dutchmen. We are second in place. And of course, at the end, only the Germans win also this year. So, now please welcome Vincent, Nicola from Microsoft. Vincent, you have the floor.
We thought we had to come back. So just out of curiosity, who was there in November last time? Just show your hand. Okay, quite a few guys. Thank you for coming back. In all these products, we introduced generative AI capabilities already enabled back in April. There's the immersive part of AI, which is very much like the feature you've seen on the video, where we incorporate AI within the product, really into the flow of the natural use of the product. Then there is a conversational aspect of AI, which is, if you're familiar with ChatGPT, that's the way you interact with the AI using natural language. With product like Business Central, we'll be able to leverage AI from other part of the ecosystem, from, for example, Dynamics, other Dynamics 365 product, Microsoft 365 being the Microsoft Graph, and even third-party apps. Business Central are available now in 131 countries, and we are soon going to add 20 more countries. Our goal is to have Business Central available anywhere on the globe, and in case the rest of the products, the family, I'd like to invite Evgeny on stage.
And in a couple of changes, which will hopefully make sense to you in a second, I can start doing pretty powerful data analysis. So let's say I want to understand how we're doing with sales for given customers. Maybe I'll start with a group, I'll bring some custom names, and obviously I want to look at amounts, on the real money. If you think about those classical analysis you do, you always look at a kind of data period. And one of the beautiful things we can help you with that, if you start looking at dates, we can build this like a date hierarchies. So what I want to achieve, I want to modify our template a bit and change what it does quickly. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to personalize my page because it's a little bit hard to find the menu time to time. So what I can do, I can go ahead and move this action somewhere. So what I just did, I just basically promote an action to my menu structure. And in fact, I can go ahead and build all the menu structure from my flows, and from my end user, if he or she clicks the button and magic happens, or clicks that action, completely irrelevant. So you as a developers can build more automations through idle code, bring with the extension, and reach capabilities of the product in almost no time. Collaborate on the business data and unlock a lot of value from a product and organization right away. It's a great cost saving in the current time. Just great capabilities to bring data to conversation. and then we can build a lot of automation to react on that. We give you a very simple structure or language support to describe and build events. As Microsoft, we give you obviously a lot of events out of the box, so you can go ahead and build your automations. You can use them for automations, you can use them for integration. There is no bad jobs involved, they're instant, just great stuff. Okay? So now, as I'm going to submit the data in this Power App, I can go ahead and modify what is the dimensions, and then I'm going to search data back at Business Central, what is the coffee machines available to be able to replace. And by the way, all these images are AI generated. That's why they look a little bit as AI generated images. I can ask you guys to wait a bit. Wait, use the hands. It's not that hard. It's not that hard, trust me. I can take a picture, and let's say you like this coffee machine. You can also, upsell the scaling solution. We can say, yeah, you need this, you need this. We can review an order. By the way, all the prices is also AI generated, so actually build pretty amazing Power Apps to get this final mile of technology. It's not about just app, it's about extension to Power Data integration, just a lot of great stuff. And we can also bring to ISV solutions as a package. Now, we're also happy to announce more things today. We're announcing that as Microsoft, we're shipping a number of Power App samples available for user community. It's just great. I show you one app out of 3, another even better and awesome. We put a lot of craft and love in the designs. They will work out of box for your pre-sales. Go ahead, install those apps, copy the code. They built specifically for you to show you how to do stuff, how you can build Power Apps, how you can load images, how you can filter your data, how you can create orders, how you create demo data to power your demos. Just use Power your pre-sales, use Power your development. Just great stuff.
It's great to see code on a big screen. I love code on a big screen. We all spend a lot of our time in Visual Studio Code. The last time we were here, when Vincent presented it again from the labs. And this is now yet another thing that has come to completion. With AL Explorer, we bring an exciting new visual way of looking at code. And with the Analyze Performance Insights, you now have data-driven insights into where and when you want to run the different rules in your solution. You can also share your rule set now across multiple projects and workspaces, so you can align what's enabled and disabled for your solutions. Some additional insights into variables, and it could be like a temporary one where you don't have the definition in view, and now you can see where it is, in order to help you be productive. Come see our sessions on what's new in AL and the overview of debugging and navigation to learn more about some of the improvements we made. Okay, we need to see some stuff, right? We need to see some stuff. I could perhaps subscribe to an event directly. It's in my clipboard now. I can paste it into my code. I can look at APIs. Maybe go investigate the layout of an API. Yeah. I can even look at what's the extendable enums I can use to implement a specific feature, like onboarding, for example. Before, when I needed to think about sales and do something in sales, I needed to maybe search online, find a piece in our code that has something to do with sales, or maybe just declare a variable and try and figure out what objects are there in sales. Today, I can just go and say, sales, and I'll get the whole thing filtered to this. Maybe that's not enough. I could group by the type, so I can find that page I want to extend that has something to do with sales, or maybe that table I need to extend that has something to do with sales. I can also group by path. By path, I can get into a view where we've grouped things that are related. For example, sales and receivables. And here you can find things that has to do with sales in the group of sales and receivables. So maybe I can discover more than I would if I just declared a variable called sales order, right? Let's just start coding. Let's do something here. Let's do a new line here. 1, 2, 3. Copilot tells me I need to add a line here. This is an action, so in the action, maybe not always. and maybe not with everything, but if I give it the right context, if I give it examples like this one, I've given it an external business event, shown it how it's supposed to be done, then it can help me with the next thing I need to do. All these things. All I had to do was go and sign up here in ALGO for PT or ALGO App Source, and I have everything working for me. You can see contributors to that. Okay, so that's really interesting. So now we know that when somebody is looking at the Business Manager Role Center in Firefox, then you have a performance regression. So little time, so much data to look at. We need to reset here and invite Vincent back on stage to talk about the future. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Stefan. So you've seen a lot of cool stuff going on with AI, and Stefan showed you how you can use GitHub Copilot with AI. And if you know a little bit about these large language models, you know that they have been trained, language models like GitHub Copilot, that have been trained on what they can find on the internet. And if you happen to program in other languages, obviously there are some languages where there's a lot more presence on the internet than AI. There's some languages like JavaScript, for example, or TypeScript have a lot more. There's a lot more out there, which means that this language have a lot more to train on. So, but still, it still understands languages and it still understands AI, and as Stefan showed you can do a lot of things already. But the more, what I'm saying here is the more AI there will be out there, the more AI there will be on GitHub, the better GitHub Copilot will become. So it's a kind of, get the hints if you want to use AI, go for GitHub, put your stuff out there to align BCI features voting with GitHub contribution, and we want that pilot to take pull requests against the base application. 75 BCIs we got approved for open development, and out of these we processed 13, and we've completed actually 13 of these. And finally, this all added up to 90 merge pull requests towards the base app. So thank you very much for supporting this initiative, and thanks to you. I know that some of you in the room who have contributed to that. And we, this is more than what we dreamed of. So thank you, and keep up the good work. Refining the process. We don't want to have too much bottleneck around this, and there's nothing worse than an open source project that goes stale and where there's no activity. So we want to make sure that we got the proper level of activity around this, and we get enough bandwidth to manage a truly open source project. And we also want to ensure that it's a win-win for you as a community. It's not about getting you to write the code and just take it and just run with it. The idea is to you put something there that benefits you and the rest of the community. All the bells and whistles for that repo, obviously. And again, we're still working with refining the process around development, because we want to take it actually a step further. We want to open up also a backlog for the open source community, not only the code, but also the entire process. That's some of the things we're thinking of. What we've done, what we announced back then, where we were going to start with at the bottom and have a system layer and a foundation layer. So the system layer is there, as you know, we already got there. And of course, the next step is the application foundation. And this is some ideas we have on how we could, what kind of modules we could have in the foundation layer. So, as I mentioned, the next thing we'll have will be number series management. That will be the first thing we'll put in the business foundation layer. So look forward to that. We have started categorizing the rest of the objects into folders actually. So we actually moved all these objects into a series of folders to get some more structure in the application. And As Stefan showed you before, you'll be able to use EL Explorer to navigate that folder structure as well. So additionally to the discoverability features like searching on names or sorting by categories, you'll have the ability to use the folder structure as well. As my segue to the From the Lab section, where I'm going to show you some of the things which I usually start this section with a disclaimer and saying that in this section we show you things that might or might not make it to the product, but I'm pretty sure that namespaces is going to make it to the product. So, but it's not in the product yet, so therefore it's in the From the Lab. But notice what's happening here. I'm getting some squigglies. Why is that? It's because this code unit name is already in use in the Microsoft system application. So I get a name cache here, which is why we so far have recommended you use prefixing in your extension to avoid this kind of name cache. So that's when namespace is going to come to the rescue, and I will simply namespace my code unit here and give it, the name of my company here, which is called incidentally my company. And that's it. So what happens there is now all the names I'm going to use in that particular file are going to belong to the namespace my company, and therefore they're not caching anymore with the geolocation name from the system chain I'm using. But notice there I got some new squigglies down there on the code unit map. And all of a sudden it says that it doesn't find the code unit map. And why is that? So that's because before, if you don't use namespacing, as long as you're not using it, everything that you depend on will end up in the global namespace. So you don't need to fully qualify the names of the things you're referencing. But in my extension here, I'm referencing our system app, the Microsoft system app, and we did add namespaces in the Microsoft system app. So from the moment you start using namespacing, you will have also to fully qualify the name of the thing you reference. It says, however, there is a mistake in the while loop, as the variable I is not incremented, which will cause an infinite loop. So not only can analyze my code and explain to me in natural language what it does, but it actually found a bug in it. And here we go. So they're actually proposing me a fix to this bug, and if you notice, it adds actually the increment, which I forgot, and it also added an exit statement, which I also forgot. So I can go there, mark my code, and here I can go and say insert snippet, and then I just replace the code it proposed into my editor pane. As you can see, reference my code units and creates an array with a list of number, and there's expected sum here, and those are the results should be. And there's a test add number in list, which is a unit test. So you'll see there are some pieces of this code which are not truly AL, but most of it will work. And I can go here and just say add as a new file, insert it to new file, and then I get in my editor pane I get an entire new file with this test. So you get the idea. So pretty powerful things that you can do with Copilot X, or also known as Copilot IV, and it's already available today. You can, I think you need to sign up for the preview. And you'll see here, after I right-click, I get a menu here saying page scripting, and I can go validate. Current value is 7,250. Right. And that's it. I've recorded the tests. So I can start the recording, and you see I have all the steps here. And what I can do now, I can go back where I started. You need to start from the same starting point, obviously. And I can just go and press play. And now the page scripter is running my script and executing the steps I have recorded before. There's no doubt that business application will look different and will be built differently in the future. The AI revolution is not something which is happening. It has happened. It is there. I mean, if you haven't seen I'm sure you have seen the press. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of hype around this. We are really only scratching the surface here. There's Codex, which is very good at understanding and generating code. Whisper for understanding and doing speech recognition. Actually, the page script I just showed you before. We also had a prototype. I couldn't demo it today because the microphone is not working very well and the presentation setup. But we had we made a prototype where we actually hooked up Whisper, and instead of typing the commands into the page script, you can actually talk to Business Central. It is the point in time where machines become as intelligent as humans. And he was saying that artificial intelligence will reach human levels by around 2029, and follow that out further, say 2024, we'll have multiplied intelligence, the human biological machine intelligence of our civilization, a billion-fold. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
That's going to be automated though.
Bigger solution for
My name is Adrian Kaufman. For the people who don't know me, there might be a few. I'm from the Netherlands, and in this NEF or BC world for 21 years with a tool that I use quite often. And it's going to call on after get record to get it, the on after get curve record, and then you get the on next record. Minimum date filter and the maximum date filter. From the on-open page, I fill the temporary table.
Is it possible to debug web services in BC?
To what?
Debug.
Oh, debug. So, yes, you can debug APIs. Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
That's no problem.
Okay.
You just use the attach debug session, and then you can work with that. Yeah. But I hope it fits. Oh, sorry. Other questions? They told me I can throw it. What was the other? Was another one with a here. Request entity too large.
You're a fan? Thank you, Sandy. Okay, good.
and he explains like here's an example of my work. Here's
to easily integrate them to many different pages or websites or wherever you would like, and to have really fast response to customer and employee needs. This means that our virtual agent can be oriented to the both sides. You can create them to connect to your local employees, to, let's say, maybe example for them to take annual leave via using our virtual agents, or to connect to the customers like we are going to do today, to create sales orders directly with conversation to chatbot. Let's ask them a question. So it has possibility just to connect to couple of different places. It has possibility to have iframe, but it is also great for data sharing. But Power Automate and Business Central is really great for data sharing. You can specifically Power Automate, which is Generally, the idea of all Power Automate is to be connected and shared with many different applications or platforms, and Business Network has really good possibility to share data. As the biggest number of Power Automate usage is pretty easy, but it can get complex. As we have saw, the end Power Automate which we have created, it is complex, but it can be more complex than that.
Yeah, error handling. There is error handling setup in the Power Automate. So if you want,
I just want a simple thing. To use Copilot.
It's my 10-year anniversary.
This and the beer, so stay with us. Let's get to it.
We hope you will enjoy how Business Central is structured now. So let's go through from the top, in fact, not from the bottom. You can find them on App Stores and with some new functionality which probably extend the base app in a lot of places. Of course, we have base app where in fact all the business logic should be, and only business logic, but we will find the customers, vendors, and this kind of objects. But the main goal today is to talk about the system app and what we can find in the system app and what it is. So at least for now, how it is, the system app is a lot of libraries which can be useful for developers, so I guess modules. So let me just find any which can be, let's say, confirm management. So when you will go to the GitHub and then you will open any of the modules, first of all you will see what is the structure, what is the documentation, like what are the public objects, like for example confirm management, and what are the functions in that. And also what are the examples, like for example here we can see, and parameters and so on. So this is the place where you also can contribute with zip. And they would like to send this file with the Azure function. Oh, there's going more. But they would like to store the copy on Azure Blob Storage or on SharePoint. And only from the production environment, of course. And every second Monday of the month.
And then I'm going to take a little look into the crystal ball, what's next, what's more to come. I will talk about how we are going full open source on the system application. We are currently only halfway there. And then I will be introducing the new layer, the business foundation. So, how do you get your idea approved for contribution? Let's say you have like a module that you need to develop, and you want to have it in the system application. So first of all, I want to talk about like how do we work internally at Microsoft? Or like small missing functionalities where things aren't aligned, like this list works like that and the other list doesn't. It can be collaboration requests where you're asking like, hey, can we work on this together to make our stuff work? And also can be extensibility requests where you want to build upon something, but it's not quite extensible. And then there are internal reported product defects which come in all shapes and sizes. And that is where our product managers come in. So we can't do everything at once, so we pick our battles for every release. And that comes into play in a minute, I'm going to explain. And then there are, of course, all the partner reported ideas that you know so well, the company aka BC Ideas, and if and they have a complete idea about how things fit together, then we're very inclined to also accept pull requests in that area. If you all of a sudden come with a complete restructuring of item tracking while we're not looking into item tracking, then that probably becomes a capacity issue on our end, because things do still need to fit together, right? So this is on a per discussion basis. What we currently will never ever accept are product defects with customer impact. Also localizations we cannot, because we only have W1 in our GitHub repositories. And currently also actually event requests, because we have a dedicated team trying to make this as quickly as possible, and we don't want to have competing ways of doing these things, and it just gets confusing. So, Docker is actually one of the few apps we need to change the settings, so I'm going to slow down for a second here. In this case, we install Docker for Windows, and that actually takes a while. But here's a very important setting. It says use WSL2 instead of Hyper-V. And if you do that, nothing works. We are ready for some Freddy magic with his container helper scripts. So how do we get those into our machine? We open PowerShell 7 in this case. And all we need to do here is that we need to say import or install module and then the BC container helper. And we force the installation. So now we get all this magic that Freddy is developing for us, which just makes it so much easier to work with Docker containers and Business Central. Put it that way. We've got a lot of issues which are not related to the code that is in there, right? All your event requests and so on and so forth, they are in ALF extensions together with the code. There has never really been any process around ALF extensions. The stuff that you just saw actually doesn't really work like that on ALF extensions. So this was just kind of heads through wall, let's do open source. So we need a fresh start. Why do we need a fresh start? Well, it's because the Business Central application team also will start developing on GitHub. We will have a common backlog that is open for everyone to see.
Will I be able to do the full code review on your code?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, and we're going to switch from being on the release branch. It will be completely implemented after the same principles as the system application. We will have the better, cleaner APIs. We will have them well documented. They will be fully extensible. They will have improved capabilities, and there won't be any localizations whatsoever in those modules. It will appear non-breaking to all the apps above because you're still under the application umbrella. So if you're referencing application, it won't break. We will probably have to do some lightweight deprecation here and there to exchange some things. Time will tell. Again, we will be developing this in the open. You get to see what we do.
Hello. That database just
Hello everyone, welcome to this session where we talk about what's new in Business Central clients for AO developers. I am Merida Norta.
And I'm Vasco Lier.
And we're both. So we see that now for home, new document, and you can also see that the key tip is typically the first letter in the word, or the first letter in the second word. And therefore, since positioning determines access keys, that means that when you move actions left and right, their access key might change. But keyboard shortcuts, of course, are not affected by personalization. No.
So in order to get an easy access to actions, you can promote split buttons on the root level, or you can drag and drop an action into the manage group, as the manage group is the pinned group by default when you access the page. So since we introduced personalization of actions in parts, we also added a more granular clearing of personalization, but be aware that if you clear personalization in parts, it will reflect on every place that you reuse this page. And this feature is only available when the modern action bar feature is turned on. So if you haven't done that already, make sure to flip the switch and give the feature a try.
Do that is if I want to, I'm interested in one customer, right? So I want to see what customer is generating more revenue. I would go and drag and drop the customer name into the row groups, and you will already see that everything is immediately grouped. Now when we talk about working with data, bulk data entry and working manually with data very easily leads to errors. So Vasco will tell us a bit more on how we help customers in that case.
So errors are a great cause of loss of efficiency and contribute to poor user experience. And this is mainly because error messages are often cryptic. So let's go to Business Central, and I'm on a sales order that is of status release. But I want to change the contact. I perform that modification, and then I counter this issue. And to most of you, this is enough to understand what needs to be done. But to a regular user, this seems a bit cryptic, a bit robotic, because they need to discover that they need to access the release tab and then reopen an order. Coming soon, there will be a blog post about user experience guidelines to help you how to write actionable error messages with your legacy views. So as I mentioned, these are actions on the role center. So all you need to do is just query all your role center pages and then look for actions that pass the run page view. So this was the legacy way of how to define view, and it relied on a lot of platform magic of how to make this happen. So
now's the time that we're making the rich text editor widely available for AL developers to use in any pages. On your mobile devices, it gives your users access to any page from their Business Central mobile app, on their phones, on their tablets, in the same way as the desktop version of the popular search or tell me feature, as we call it.
Camera on the device to scan and parse the barcode. So let's see what it takes just to use this feature. So I'm on a page that I have just a single field, and the only thing that you need to do is annotate the field with an extended data type, and then we see a new one, barcode. And it's easy as that. So since this is from the lab and the setup is very complicated, I recorded videos and pictures, so you gotta trust me that it works. But if you don't, like, you have to wait to try it out. So now we see a new action next to
the example with the blue permission set at the bottom. That includes the permissions of the green permission set and the orange permission set as well. So essentially, you can include other permission sets in your permission set.
Which is what we're talking about today. And this is a completely free app you can use for your own extensions. You can
is from the BC port into BC on cloud. You'll see what are the common data migration challenges and best practices during the upgrade. And you'll lead customizations, extensions, and code-related challenges that we faced and that we will share with you. And for the last, we will cover case studies and lessons learned during the upgrade process. And after that, we only have 12 months for the bugs and regulatory fixes. So as you can see on the right side, we can see all the versions and until when they are supported. For the versions before BC15, we have fixed lifecycle policy, events that are not used or used very few places, so Microsoft may consider to start removing them. and maybe in some point one of your events that only you use will be removed. We'll see.
Starting from customized-based application, we need basically to convert the code from CIL to AL, then to do refactoring and merge. So these options, because we are speaking for cloud environment, these three options are no-go. So we don't want any on-prem version containing basically customized based application. Maybe that will be scenario for a short term.
Conference, because the Microsoft people from Business Central usually only talk about the cloud flows in Power Automate. Essentially the resilient API-driven automation, the thing that runs, that calls the APIs. Which maybe for this crowd isn't that bad, but it takes a while. And then the last product is Power Pages. And Power Pages is the tool that will bring or will allow you to build portals, public websites on top of your Dataverse data. And it allows you to either create it or have access anonymously or put some access control on it either for inside your company with Azure Active Directory or for outside of your company with Azure Active Directory B2C. Okay, let's switch over here. Yep. Very good. To use. And I hope we could show you a bit that it's actually not that different, like from a code perspective. If you want to integrate with it, it's not that much different, conceptual-wise, or also from technology than Business Central. Yeah, and we learned that Microsoft is heavily investing on it in terms of integrating it or making it useful for Business Central, and it's not going away. We were in Dublin this week, and Charles Lomana said that Dataverse and Power Platform have 33 million monthly active users. So it's big, and most likely will only be bigger there. So please enjoy the same things that we enjoy. So much fun on our side. And with that,